Just give me a second. Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. Oh boy. Sorry. So my friend Chuck Rogers asked me the other day, how many Doctor Who t-shirts do I own? And my honest answer was several. This one seemed especially appropriate for today's story. Today I began The Celestial Toymaker, and it is a deeply, deeply weird story. This is a story I don't think could be done today. It's just too unreal, surrealistic. It's not so much science fiction as it is childhood fairy tale fantasy. So there's that to begin with. The gist of the story is that the TARDIS, with the Doctor and Stephen and Dodo, are kidnapped out of reality by the Celestial Toymaker and taken to his weird dimension where they're all forced to play games in order to win freedom. So a couple interesting things about this story, or not so much the story, but the circumstances around it. The first notable thing here is that this is the story in which Innes Lloyd takes over as the producer of the show, with Jerry Davis as the story editor. And the change is felt immediately. The very first thing that Innes Lloyd did was that the characters should wear more kind of mod clothing. And so, I mean, take a look at this picture of Stephen from the episode, and here's one of Dodo. And so that's how you get Stephen in this sort of stripy shirt. But the more interesting change is Dodo. Bear in mind that in her previous story, The Ark, which was her first full story as a companion, she wore this kind of cosplay pantomime night costume that was clearly designed to be as unflattering and unfeminine as possible. Now all of a sudden in this story, she gets this sort of mod sleeveless skin-tight shirt with a mini skirt and fishnet stockings, and I mean, take a look at this thing. Oh wait, hang on, I have a color picture of this. There we go. This is an outfit that is unlike anything any companion has worn on the show before. Barbara was always a very proper sort of school teacher, put together character, and Susan and Vicky were both young girls and dressed as such, appropriately so. Now all of a sudden we have Dodo. This immediately reminds me of something that humorist Dave Barry wrote, talking about his childhood growing up watching the Mickey Mouse Club, and in particular watching Annette Funicello grow up on TV, and specifically the way some of the letters of her name were noticeably closer to the camera than others. It's absolutely clear that this costume for Dodo is the first instance of what Doctor Who fans affectionately refer to as dad candy. Aside from the costume change, Innes Lloyd wanted to make another significant change in the story, and that was to get rid of William Hartnell. And in fact, this story is structured very similarly to The Massacre, in which the Doctor appears in the first and the fourth episode, but is absent from the middle two. The difference being that in The Massacre, those middle two episodes, William Hartnell played a separate character. In this case, the Celestial Toymaker uses his magical whatever powers to disapparate the Doctor and only leave behind a floating hand in the air. He's forcing the Doctor to play a game called the Trilogic game, which is really just the pyramid stacking game. And if I can take a slight diversion here on that point, the Trilogic game is presented as this monumentally difficult puzzle that only the most brilliant mind can possibly solve. And yet the pyramid stacking game is a puzzle that I encountered when I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, and I intuitively knew how to figure it out basically immediately. I had the whole thing solved within 5 minutes. Now, I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm saying the Doctor is way smarter than me, and this puzzle just doesn't make any dramatic sense to me. But hey, it's a children's show. Getting back to getting rid of William Hartnell. So basically, new producer Innes Lloyd disapparates the Doctor, makes him not visible on screen for more than 3/4 of the story, and the entire plan was to fire the Doctor, bring a new actor, and have the change happen right then and there. But of course, as you surely know, since we haven't reached the 10th planet yet, that doesn't happen. Instead, William Hartnell signed a new contract with the BBC and did several more stories after this one. Although at this point, the writing is absolutely on the wall. The new producer wants him out, and it's gonna happen soon. One more thing I want to talk about today, and that is the character of the Celestial Toymaker himself. As weird and trippy as the story is itself, the Celestial Toymaker is played perfectly by actor Michael Gough. Now, if you don't know that name, just cast your mind back to the 1990s and the Batman movies with Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Remember Alfred Pennyworth? That's Michael Goff. And here he is, about 25 years younger, just chewing up scenery left and right, and it's a joy to behold. Now, I have a few more things I want to talk about in this story, but I'm going to hold those over until Tuesday. Normally I'd say tomorrow, but tomorrow is Monday, and for right now, Mondays are New Doctor Who Monday. So tomorrow morning, like the past several weeks, I'll be watching the brand new episode of Doctor Who for the first time on the treadmill and giving you my immediate thoughts right afterwards. So be sure to check it out tomorrow. I'll see you then.